Retired couple Pam and Clive had met when they were just children, finding a connection that would last a lifetime. It all began when Clive, at the tender age of 10, mustered the courage to ask Pam to be his girlfriend. From that moment on, their lives became intertwined in a way that seemed destined. Through the years, they navigated the challenges of growing up together, supporting each other through school, family troubles, and the ups and downs that come with adolescence. Their bond grew stronger with each passing day, and as they entered adulthood, their commitment only deepened. When the time was right, after spending decades as inseparable partners, Pam and Clive took the next step in their journey. They exchanged vows over 50 years ago, surrounded by the love and support of their families and friends. The wedding marked the official start of their lifelong adventure as husband and wife. The years that followed were filled with joy, trials, and triumphs. Pam and Clive's love formed the foundation of a beautiful family. They welcomed children into their lives, and eventually, the pitter-patter of grandchildren echoed through their homes. The couple embraced the role of grandparents with the same enthusiasm and warmth that had characterized their relationship from the very beginning. As time went on, the lines on their faces told stories of a life well lived, of challenges overcome, and of a love that had only grown stronger with each passing day. There was a particular source of joy that had entered their lives 7 years ago. Pam and Clive decided to bring a golden retriever puppy named Bella into their home. Bella quickly became the centre of their world, bringing boundless energy and warmth to their days. She was pampered and spoiled, showered with affection from her doting human companions. Now, at 7 years old, Bella was a cherished member of their family, her playful antics and unwavering loyalty adding a new layer of happiness to their lives. Pam and Clive often took leisurely walks with Bella, her wagging tail and exuberant spirit reminding them of the simple joys life had to offer. As usual, Clive and Bella would start their day by heading out in their car. Bella's tail would wag in eager anticipation as she hopped into the back seat, ready for another adventure by Clive's side. The routine had become a cherished part of their lives, one that brought them both immense joy and a sense of camaraderie that only a pet owner could understand. They drove along the familiar roads, the wind rushing through the open windows as Bella's ears flapped in the breeze. Clive's smile was infectious, and Bella's exuberance was infectious right back. They were a pair that radiated happiness, their bond evident to anyone who caught a glimpse of them together. However, tragedy struck in an unexpected instant. As they drove along, another vehicle veered into their path, causing a collision that would forever change their lives. The impact was sudden and devastating. The car was crumpled, the sound of screeching tyres and breaking glass filling the air. In those horrifying moments, everything came crashing down. Bella's life was tragically cut short at the scene of the accident. The once vibrant dog lay still, her tail stilled forever, her light extinguished far too soon. Clive, injured and in shock, was rushed to the hospital. The urgency of the situation was palpable. The medical team quickly assessed his injuries and made the decision to rush him into surgery. Pam, racked with worry, paced the sterile corridors of the hospital, her thoughts a jumble of fear and hope. Hours felt like an eternity as Pam sat in the waiting room, surrounded by the low hum of hospital activity and the hushed conversations of other anxious families. She clutched her hands together, her knuckles turning white as she silently pleaded for Clive's recovery. Finally, the moment arrived when the surgeon emerged from the operating room. Pam's heart raced as she stood, her eyes locking onto the doctor's face, searching for any hint of news. The doctor's expression was a mix of exhaustion and professionalism as he delivered the update Pam had been dreading. "Mrs. Peterson, the surgery was successful," the doctor began, his voice gentle but laden with gravity. "We were able to stabilise Clive's condition, but he's still unconscious. He'll be moved to his room soon, and you can be with him." Pam nodded, her emotions a tangled mess. As she sat by Clive's bedside, the sight of him hooked up to various machines was both comforting and distressing. His face was pale, his features relaxed in slumber. She held his hand, the warmth of his skin a lifeline that kept her grounded. Eventually, the steady beep of the heart monitor signalled a change. Clive's eyelids fluttered open, and he blinked at the sterile ceiling for a moment, before turning his head to meet Pam's anxious gaze. His lips curved into a weak smile, and Pam's heart swelled with relief. "Hey," Clive rasped, his voice hoarse from the surgery. Tears welled up in Pam's eyes as she leaned over, pressing a gentle kiss to his forehead. "Oh, Clive, you're awake! Thank goodness!" Clive's eyes searched her face, concern knitting his brows. "Bella, is she okay?" Pam's heart clenched at his question. She took a deep breath, struggling to find the right words. "Clive, I'm so sorry. Bella didn't make it. The accident was too severe." Clive's eyes filled with tears as the weight of her words sank in. His lower lip trembled and a tear slipped down his cheek. "No, Bella, she was my girl." Pam reached out, gripping his hand tightly. "I know, Clive. I know how much she meant to you." Clive's shoulders shook with silent sobs, grief and pain washing over him like a tidal wave. Pam held him as he cried, her own tears mingling with his. As Clive's tears subsided, a sudden clutching pain seized his chest. His eyes widened and he clutched at his heart. Panicked, Pam hit the emergency button. The medical team rushed in, their faces a blur of urgency. They worked frantically to stabilise Clive, but despite their efforts, his condition deteriorated rapidly. The room was a whirlwind of activity, the heart monitor's rhythm growing more erratic. In the midst of the chaos, Clive's grasp on consciousness slipped away. Pam watched in horror as the medical team performed chest compressions, their voices tense with urgency. But despite their best efforts, they couldn't bring Clive back. Pam's world was shattered by the sudden loss of her dear husband Clive and their beloved Bella. Grief hung heavy over her heart, a dark cloud that seemed unyielding. The emptiness of the house was a constant reminder of their absence, a silent echo of the love and happiness that once filled every corner. In the midst of her mourning, Pam's thoughts were drawn to a matter, the will, a document that they had diligently worked on, ensuring that their affairs would be in order should the unforeseen occur. They had signed it just a week before the tragic accident. Clive had mentioned that all they needed to do was take it to their lawyer to make it official. If Pam couldn't locate that will, she feared that she might be left without access to important assets or instructions that they had carefully outlined. As she sifted through the drawers and cabinets in search of the will, Pam's desperation grew. The weight of the responsibility bore down on her as she navigated the sea of paperwork and memories that Clive had left behind. Each passing day seemed to intensify the pressure, and Pam's determination to find the will became a constant ache in her heart. One afternoon, as Pam was lost in thought in the backyard, a rustling sound caught her attention. She turned, her eyes widening in disbelief. There, standing before her, was a dog that looked almost identical to Bella. Pam's heart skipped a beat as she took in the dog's features, the same deep eyes, the familiar coat of fur. It was as if Bella had returned to her, a mirage in the midst of her grief. The dog approached Pam with a wagging tail and a sense of familiarity, as if they had known each other for years. Pam knelt down, her hand trembling as she reached out to pet the dog's head. The dog nuzzled against her hand, radiating a warmth that seemed to ease some of the pain that had consumed her. Pam searched for any signs of identification on the dog, but found none. She couldn't just leave the dog alone, so she made the impulsive decision to let her stay. She named her Sally, a nod to the bond that she felt they shared with Bella. In the days that followed, as Pam continued her quest to find the missing will, she couldn't shake the feeling that Sally was trying to communicate something. The dog would often nudge her gently, leading her around the house. At first, Pam dismissed it as a mere coincidence, but the pattern continued, almost as if Sally was guiding her. The following day, Sally was at it again, persistently trying to get Pam's attention. Observing this, Pam decided to follow Sally's lead. The dog led Pam to the study where she paused beside a bookshelf, her tail wagging eagerly. Pam scanned the area on top of the bookcase, meticulously searching for the missing item. Despite her efforts, the will remained elusive. Then, Sally started sniffing at the back of the bookcase, and Pam's curiosity grew stronger. She approached the back of the bookcase, situated between the wall and the bookcase itself. There, to her astonishment, lay the envelope containing the will. A sudden realization dawned on Pam. Sally had found it. The will must have slipped from its original position on top of the bookcase and ended up behind it. The dog's persistent nudges and guiding behaviour had ultimately led Pam to the crucial missing document. With the discovery of the will, a sense of relief and purpose began to take hold in Pam's heart. The document was taken to their lawyer, where it was carefully examined. The lawyer confirmed that the will was indeed signed by both Pam and Clive, and it outlined their wishes clearly. Pam's fears were put to rest as she learned that she would receive everything she was entitled to, and the instructions within the will made the transition into this new chapter of her life somewhat smoother. However, while Pam's financial worries were eased, the void left by Clive's passing and Bella's absence remained profound. Pam continued to grieve, finding solace in the companionship of Sally, who seemed to understand the weight of her sorrow. A few days after the legal matters were settled, Sally's behaviour took an unexpected turn. She was barking insistently near the front door. Pam opened it, and to her surprise, Sally darted out and ran to the footpath. The dog paused, looking back at Pam for a moment before disappearing around the corner. Pam's brow furrowed in curiosity, and she followed Sally's path with her gaze. As she stood there, a breeze brushed against her cheek, carrying with it a sense of fleeting presence. It was as if Bella and Clive were somehow there, watching over her, offering their guidance and blessings from beyond. Pam returned inside, a mix of emotions swirling within her. She looked around the empty house, memories of Clive and Bella etched into every corner. A sense of gratitude washed over her, gratitude for the moments they had shared, the love that had sustained them, and the guidance that had brought her to this point. With a heavy heart, Pam looked upwards, her voice soft but full of emotion. "Thank you, Bella. Thank you, Clive, for helping me find what I needed and for watching over me. I know you're together now, and that thought brings me comfort. Until we meet again." If you enjoyed this story, I know that you will enjoy the story about a mother changing her will. She decided that her beloved dog would choose who gets the inheritance, and the choice is between her trusted cleaner or her selfish adult children. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.